All right, time now to take a look at some artifacts from the past. And from the Kern County Museum, we're lucky enough to have Ashleigh in studio with us again. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm excellent, even more excellent now that you're here because you always bring in such cool stuff for us to look at. So tell us a little bit about the Kern County Museum, first of all. If people want to go out and visit the museum, where is it? When are you guys open?
So the museum's off of Chester, right after the Circle. It is open Wednesdays to Sunday, 9 to 4. We do close admission at 3:30 though, so keep that in mind. We have several buildings, historic buildings on the property, all relating to either a historic like pioneer family or different groups that show the diversity of Bakersfield and just different aspects of that history.
I was going to say, and architecture also,
yes.
Because I've brought students out there just to simply look at the architecture of those different houses and buildings and things out there.
Yes, one of our big houses, Howell House, is I
Right.
believe Queen Anne style, and then right next to it is an adobe house.
Right, so that's one of the great things about that is you've
Yeah.
got all these different styles out there. But today is election day
Yes.
in the United States.
Yes,
so,
it is.
We've got some things to talk about.
Yes.
So let's take a look at what you've brought in here so far.
Well,
so I
do you
know
wanna
you've
start
got
out
one
with-
to go with the election, right?
Yes,
Okay.
so actually all of them do. If you want to start with the oldest.
Well,
So-
why not? Let's go back in time all the way as far as we can.
And the farthest one I brought is from 1873.
1873.
Yes, so this is, oops, here we go, an actual ballot.
So we'll turn it this way so
turn it
that
that
the
way.
camera can get it.
So an actual ballot from the special election that changed the county seat of Kern County from Havilah to Bakersfield.
Okay.
And this particular ballot comes from the community in Havilah. So one of the community members there voted to keep Havilah, I believe, as the county seat. But obviously that didn't work because the county seat changed in
And pretty good to keep this thing
1874.
around 150 years later, and it still looks pretty good shape.
Oh yeah, actually I've got several more of those, but that
Okay.
one probably was in the best shape.
All right, and then we've got a poll list.
And then this one, so move this to the side, is from 10 years later, 1883, and it's a list of all the people who can vote during that time.
So the registered voters.
Yeah, so list of basically everyone, the registered voters that are in there. And everything's handwritten. This was also for a special election. And here's your 9 people that participated
All
in this
9
vote.
people there. Well, you know what? It's a good thing you had is the odd number there, right?
Oh yeah, and so this is a list of all of the voters, all written in handwritten, and then at the back.
I was going to say that's something that I
Yeah.
know that schools are bringing back is handwriting also.
Yes, yeah, there is. I've actually had a couple of volunteers who can't read cursive anymore, so it's definitely good that they're bringing that back because it's a huge
Right, because if
aspect
you've never
of.
seen it,
Yeah, if you've
I mean,
never
because
seen
there are
it,
some
you've never
young
been taught how to
students that
read
have
it,
never
how to
seen it
write
because
it.
they never had to write it.
Yep, absolutely.
And it would help in seeing old documents like this that are all in
Transcribing
cursive.
and reading them, absolutely.
All right, so what else have you got for us?
So the next item I have for you, as I put this away, give me one moment.
Stay organized. We don't want that stuff getting mixed up with something else, and then you whip
Yeah.
something out, and it's like, oh, it's with 2024 here now. So.
Jump up about 20, 30 years, we come to a sheet of music. This particular music sheet says, "We'll make California dry." So it was the official campaign song for Proposal 2, I believe, of the November 3rd, 1914 election for all California. And that proposal was to make California a dry state.
And so they had this song.
They had this official
for
song
this.
for this as like a sort of a rallying cry, I guess.
Okay.
And this is the actual sheet music for it, but it is 110 years old.
Yeah, and for the students that understand music and learn music and take music, they can understand all of the different mathematics
Yes.
in music.
Yeah, even just basically your time signature, your notes are all fractions of each other. You know, you've got a quarter note, 16th note, whole note, half note, all of that stuff.
All right.
Music
well, that's
and
pretty
math are
awesome
great.
too. I mean, 1914.
Yeah.
You've got some campaign buttons.
Yeah, so this one in particular kind of fits with this theme here. So it says, please vote dry for me, so it's another Prohibition era.
Okay.
Probably a little bit later, probably for more the nationwide amendment type thing. But yeah, it sort of fits that theme.
Right.
And then I would say our next one, if you want to keep going chronologically.
Okay. Well, that's what museums do, right?
Oh, yeah.
Chronological order. And for students that are wondering what you're talking about, that's year by year in
Yes.
order.
So go ahead and put that away. So next one we have is from 1936. So this would be an example of a ballot that they would have written an X on. So history of voting, actually, all had to be hand collected, hand counted up until probably, I want to say the 40s or 50s. I could be wrong. When they started to actually start utilizing machines a little bit more to recognize it.
And what they would do is they would just mark it with their X, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of times they would say, sign, and if people weren't literate as far as writing and reading and things, they would just make their mark, which a lot of times was an X, and then that goes into this part. And then we can see in the back here, we can see a graphic of when it moved on to machines.
Yes.
And that, that's early 1900s. So I remember voting in the 1980s, not quite like that, but sort of similar, where you would go into a booth and you would poll and the curtain would close behind you. And then you were in there, and it was similar to what we're looking at the antique voting machine right now. But you would just flip a lever.
Yeah.
Right? And then that would be, who you voted for. You could vote for one or whatever, and here you could vote for 3 of the 7 or whatever it was. And you can see those right there. So you're just moving the lever to cast your vote. And then in the back or someplace in the components of that is where they're going to tabulate all of that data.
Yes, and I know one of the ways it was, they did it for a while was punch card.
Right.
And that ended up actually causing a problem because it's not easy for humans to read. Punch card is easy for machines to read, but not humans, and that is one of the big main factors with the Al Gore v. Bush.
I was going to say, you old enough to remember that?
No, I don't remember it, but history.
Well, a couple of us here in studio remember that one pretty well. And all right, so then you've got one more.
So then, yeah, I've got another little campaign pin. This gentleman, if you recognize the name from the CSUB library.
Okay, I was going to say it looked familiar, but I couldn't put where it was.
So I believe, I think it's Walter William Stearn, or I'm mixing up. But Stearn, he was the assemblyman, Democratic, and was from Kern County, local guy, Bakersfield, and so he was most known for his effect on the higher education, so college system. He was really the main reason why the California's community college system became so robust and why we even have CSUB.
Oh, good. So good. A lot of knowledge behind that pin right there as far as election days and stuff like that go. So I'm sure you did, but you went out and voted today, or you did the absentee thing?
I did a mail in.
Mailed it in. So I mailed mine in also, and because a lot of times we're busy, so that's one of the advantages of mailing in things like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So once again, people can go up to the Kern County Museum Wednesday
through Sunday.
Wednesday through Sunday. Stops at 4, but you stop admitting at 3:30.
Yes, because then you will only have a half an hour at that point to go through 16 acres of property.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of this stuff isn't on public display all the time, though.
No. So this is from our archives. A lot of these items are from our archives, and people can go onto the website. You can find my email and email me if you want to come in to research items in
I was going
archives.
to say, because you're accessible to have somebody come in and find out what's going on.
Yes, we have a research center. If you want to look up photos, if you want to look at some of these documents, absolutely, you just make an appointment with me. And usually that area is open Wednesdays to Fridays.
You know what's going to happen is probably in about 100 years from now, somebody's going to come in and they go, my grandma was Ashleigh, and I want to see that part she was talking about when she was doing the voting back in 2024. So anyway, Ashleigh, thank you for coming in today. We do appreciate when you come in and show us some of the artifacts of the past and some great ones that you had today for Election Day.
Yeah.
All right, nicely done. We'll be back with more right after this.